Good afternoon. Thank you for staying with NTV. My name is Gladys Gachanja and this is NTV at 1. We are covering your news of the day across all fronts. And speaking of which, my colleague Seth Olale, who is in Mandera, and Mel Miendo at the Supreme Court, giving us the latest from those regions. We start off with Seth Olale, and terrorism is one of the major challenges that Kenya faces, and in many cases, local communities and leaders have been accused of being complicit. Security agencies are currently meeting in Mandera to discuss ways of countering terrorism, especially homegrown terrorism. Seth Olale has been following those proceedings. Seth, what more has been said?
Well, thank you so much, Gladys. Very firm sentiments from the county commissioner, who did not mince his words. He said that this has to be a team effort. And of course, he blamed some government officials, including a local chief, for switching off his phone when a terror attack did happen here in Mandera County. But also the commissioner did say that he needs collaboration, especially from key stakeholders, including the county government. And that is why I want to bring in right now Mandera County boss, that is Ali Roba. This is a one-day anti-terrorism and extremism symposium. It is not the first time it is happening, but there have been terror attacks.
Yes, there has been terror attacks. However, if you look at the history of, at least as far as devolution is concerned, from the advent of devolution until now, if we draw a graph, there's been a reducing trend in terms of the frequency of occurrence and the severity of the occurrences within the region. The reason why we are doing this is, yes, because we cannot, we've not exhaustively handled it. We still are dealing with the challenges as it's happening, even though the frequency has reduced. It's critical for us to continue consulting because terror is extremely dynamic. It keeps changing tact, and we also need to keep changing tact, both from the community perspective and the security perspective, in order to make sure that jointly, as they change tact, and we are changing tact. For example, now the Mandera-Lafe road that was the worst in the region has improved, and now we are having new trend from Ramo to Banisa, which has never occurred. It has never been reported, where terror cells have been reported and attack has occurred on the mast. And that is what we want to counter, so that we continue engaging to see what has changed, where are the gaps, and what do we need to do jointly, not only the security, but also the community and the leadership.
And some of the gaps you mentioned is sharing intelligence and intelligence not being acted upon by security agencies. And you emphasize that there is need for this intelligence at whatever level needs to be acted upon first.
Yes, we need to be as dynamic as terror itself, in my view. And as such, one of the inputs that we emphasize is the communities to report wherever sightings they see, the security to respond as urgently and as timely as urgently as possible in order to deal with this challenge. And once we get a few successful, engagement with this, we're sure Al-Shabaab does not want to die. They want to continue attacking successfully. If they are countered, we know that that is going to change, and that's what we are exploring here, so that also we build the relationship between security and community, and we also look at what are the changing trends and what do we need to do, all of us.
Governor, before I let you go and bring in the county commissioner, Onesmus Chata, just address the issue about education, and especially in terms of teaching staff, because we have information that non-local teachers are actually fleeing back to other areas, and this is going to be a crisis in terms as far as education is concerned. What is being done?
It has been a crisis for us for the last 10 years, and the trend has been continuing. And what we are doing right now is, the education sector is crumbling. So the county government is unable to attract professionals to come and work in the county as a result of fear. What we want the public to understand, and that is the essence of the function today, is to get to understand a few non-locals could be targeted. by Al-Shabaab. While they kill only Somalis in Somalia across the border, they'll attempt to create an impression that they're targeting non-locals. But what we want the public to understand is for them to know that the Al-Shabaab is not targeting non-locals, but the fabric and existence of the community, where health sector is affected, education is affected, trade is affected, the socio-economic life of the population is affected, and that is what we want them to know, and so that they can have the urge and resentment required to deal with the challenge.
Thank you, Governor. We don't have much time, but just before we end this live broadcast from Mandera, I just want to bring in the County Commissioner, and you did say that you need more cooperation from the community, and you even blamed a local chief who's a government official from switching off his phone when a terror attack was happening.
What I want to say is that this function is quite important for all of us as a county, both the national government and the county government, because we have to work cohesively, both the levels of government and also the locals, the residents, in order to weed out this kind of menace in our county. I must agree that we have not received maximum cooperation from the residents, because sometimes they understand, they can be able to predict when an attack is happening, and they don't report on time. And these are the issues we want to discuss here and agree, including the leadership, so that we work very cohesively, so that we can be swift in dealing with this menace. That is what we want to engage the community. Community engagement is very important. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. That has been Onesmus Chata, who is a county commissioner. Remember that this is a one-day anti-terrorism and extremism symposium being hosted by Mandera Governor Ali Roba. It has brought together community leaders from various sectors, as well as senior and top security personnel led there by Onesmus Chata, who is the county commissioner. Of course, we shall update viewers on more on this in our subsequent bulletins. Gladys.
Seth Olale speaking to us live from Mandera County. Definitely a very imperative conversation being heard in Mandera County. Looking forward to more details coming out of that anti-terrorism and extremism symposium. Back to the capital, and President Uhuru Kenyatta is urging the judiciary to look within itself for reasons why justice is often delayed or not delivered. In his first session of the year with Chief Justice David Maraga, the president noted that the criminal justice system requires mutual collaboration and understanding among all stakeholders. The CJ on his part spoke on the challenges the judiciary faces, but promised that there will be convictions in 2020. The two spoke during the State of the Judiciary and the Administration of Justice report, and Mel Miendo has been in attendance. Mel, what are some of the other issues that came up in that sitting?
Gladys, the conference just ended about 25 minutes ago. President Uhuru Kenyatta, together with Chief Justice David Maraga, have just left the building, the Supreme Court, because that's where we are. And of course, it's all about the status of the judiciary with regards to the administration of justice. And this report, actually, let me just show you, it's this big. This is the entire report, and it's between 2018 and 2019, a very bulky book that is documenting the entire status of the judiciary within these 2 years, and then now coming into 2020. So some of the issues that have come across, just to mention actually, is that CJ Maraga, together with President Uhuru Kenyatta, had met for quite a few hours before they came in to this conference, or this event, if you may say, and they were discussing many things. In fact, both of them have alluded to the fact that they had to discuss first and just come together with regards to the justice system. I remember President Uhuru Kenyatta last week was very, very clear, and he hit out at the judiciary with regards to how they are handling corruption cases. But today it's been very different. The atmosphere, the attitude between the two is one of unity, is one of collaboration, is one of peace. And in fact, even when President Uhuru Kenyatta was speaking with regards to what he was reading in his press statement, he actually cut out a few things which he said he doesn't want to hit out again at the judiciary. One of the major things that has come across from this event is the issue of funding and also the issue of corruption cases. With regards to funding, the CJ, that's David Maraga, was asking for more funding. They're saying that this is one of the major challenges that they're facing as the judiciary, that they're not funded well. He actually even challenged the president to visit some of the courts like Kitale, Meru, Eldoret, these courts that are very congested, and that's because they've been drawn back with regards to the budget cuts that we all are aware of that affected the judiciary. And so the CJ was really asking for about 2 or 2.5% of the budget to be what is given to them so that they're able to continue with their operations. But President Uhuru Kenyatta, as he said, he will continue to support them. He will give them the entire support with regards to the executive. He also mentioned that they cannot seek other issues with regards to maybe travel or any other extra issue that they would bring across with regards to getting funding. So they're actually, per se, we would say it's very different from what we were expecting. The president did not hit out at the judiciary, and the judiciary through the Chief Justice David Maraga was also very open, and they were asking for that support from the executive. One of the other issues that also came about is corruption cases. Now, President Uhuru Kenyatta was very, very clear, saying that he is aware of the cartels that may be coming into the judiciary, speaking to magistrates, judges, who are all here actually, because there are High Court judges here, the Supreme Court judges here, there are magistrates who are here. And he was saying he's aware of these cartels. He's aware of these people who come in and probably with money and ask for projects to be stalled or ask for court cases to be stalled so that they get their own way. And so he was really asking for, it's a two-way thing. He was saying that if the judiciary wants this funding or support, then they also have to make sure that these cases are taken to the very end. With regards to conviction, the CJ said we should expect conviction of cases, corruption cases, especially in the year 2020. He says his team is ready and they're working around the clock to ensure that cases are convicted. So it's a wait and see situation, really. But what has come across is that now there's collaboration between the executive and the judiciary. In fact, President Kenyatta said they'll be meeting even more times with CJ Maraga.
Thank you, Mel Miendo, who was in attendance at the State of the Judiciary meeting that happened at the Supreme Court, and of course a sigh of relief even as head of state. And the CJ actually had an amicable conversation and subsequent meeting, and that report has been released. Mel Miendo will be tabulating it to us in our subsequent bulletins. Now to county matters. Calls to return Nairobi City County back to the national government have intensified after the multi-sectoral forum on anti-corruption termed it the best solution to the leadership crisis in Nairobi. The forum, which brings together members of the business community, the private sector, the media, women and youth, have also called for the speedy prosecution of corruption cases in the country and the revival of the lifestyle audits. The team, which was speaking in Nairobi, said the slow convictions were derailing the war on corruption, despite an assurance from President Uhuru Kenyatta to slay the dragon.
We have big drama of big people being arrested on Friday evening, spending the night, and you say, finally, we got there. And then, okay, they spend the weekend in the police stations. On Monday, they are arraigned in court with a lot of drama and cameras and everything else. They appear in one court and they say they're not guilty, they go home. Nothing happens after that. In the rural areas, some of the governors who have built mega structures, 18 months after they became governors, and then you look at that mansion is costing 1.5 billion shillings, and he has a whole lot of cars around, and then they come, let's do a lifestyle audit. What lifestyle audit are you? Who is kidding who? I've worked for 50 years. I don't have those mansions, and I've worked every single day of my life. And I had good jobs because we were among the first graduates to graduate in the 60s. But I've tried to do an honest job. But this guy comes and he's a governor, and all of a sudden he has all these V8s, big house, big shamba everywhere. And we are still talking about doing lifestyle audit. Yeah? We are kidding ourselves because we are not.
While staying with the politics of Nairobi, Governor Mike Sonko's nominee for the deputy governor position, Anne Mwenda, got a reprieve yesterday after Assembly Speaker Beatrice Elachi forwarded her name to the Committee of Appointment for vetting. Elachi made the ruling after a 4-hour special sitting session of the House, which had been convened to hear the matter. The session was, however, marred by drama after MCAs from the ODM party stormed out of the meeting on claims that the decision by Sonko was unlawful. The MCAs argued that Sonko was in no position to nominate anyone after he was barred from office by the court. But their Jubilee counterparts opposed to their arguments, suggesting that the governor was mandated to nominate a deputy by law. The committee is expected to table its report when the Assembly resumes session in February.
I direct that before the committee tables its report on this assembly, it must undertake the following: ascertain whether the nominee meets the requirement set by the Supreme Court and IEBC in filling a vacancy in the position of the deputy governor. Inquire from the Supreme Court on the status of the Supreme Court Advisory Reference 1 of 2020 and comply with the same.
And to the politics of the BBI, ODM party leader Raila Odinga says the move by Deputy President William Ruto allied MPs to join the BBI meetings bandwagon is welcome and only goes to show it is not about 2022. Speaking when he met a section of senators from Mount Kenya earlier today, Raila said it was always misguided of them to heat out at the meetings, yet they were meant to bring the country together.
ODM leader Raila Odinga has started laying ground for the BBI Mount Kenya chapter, with meetings aimed at softening the ground in top gear. Today, he met with 4 senators from the region and, among other issues, discussed the BBI report on how to sell it in the region.
I've taken the opportunity to brief them on the BBI initiative and where we are, where we're coming from, and what are the intentions. We've generally also discussed the issues of development in Central Kenya region. They've expressed to me concerns which the people of the region have, and I've also explained to them how we think that some of these problems can be solved.
More so, the economic improvement of the counties. For example, we have had a problem with milk, which has been selling at 17 shillings per litre. The issue is, how is BBI going to ensure that our farm products are sold for the prices they're supposed to be sold for?
There's nothing to hide that the former Prime Minister, out of the handshake, are coordinating and actually they are sharing on the ideas that could take Kenya to a better state. Therefore, when we see him, we are seeing him from that context.
The 2-hour meeting attended by Murang'a Senator Irungu Kang'ata, Nyeri Senator Ephraim Maina, Nyandarua Senator Mwangi Githiomi, and nominated Senator Isaac Mwaura also dealt with the Raila factor in Mount Kenya, a place Deputy President William Ruto is considered to have made great political strides.
We would want to know how our interests are going to be safeguarded in whatever government structure that is going to come out of the BBI process. And here, we are not talking about who is going to occupy what position. It's because eventually this is going to create a new government structure. So what is the interest of Central?
Raila also spoke to the Mombasa BBI meeting, chiding the William Ruto allied MPs who have said they will attend.
It will be very misguided and unfortunate for anybody to try to think that he can sabotage this exercise. This is a people's exercise. It is the people of Kenya who are moving this process. And I don't think that there's any force that can stop this train from moving. It will move on and we only invite everybody else to come on board.
With the Mount Kenya BBI chapter expected next month, Raila Odinga is already making a series of meetings that are aimed at softening the ground and make it more welcoming when he does make that all-important trip. Kennedy Mureithi, NTV in Nairobi County.
Well, since the BBI report was launched and the public sensitization rally started, Deputy President William Ruto has not spoken directly to any media, but now he's ready to open up. He'll be speaking exclusively tonight to Ken Mijungu.
Siasa ya ukabila na chuki na mgawanyiko haitakuweko tena.
Ruto should have the courage to face the president.
Iko shida hapa, iko shida pale, iko matatizo sijui iko na gani.
These are small things, wachana na hizo.
Jihadharini na manabii wa uongo. Wanakuja kwenu wakivalia ngozi ya kondoo.
Hamuwezi kunifukuza ODM ati mkanifuata ati mnanifukuza Jubilee. Kila mtu afanye kazi yake. Kama wewe ni mtu watchman, fanya kazi ya watchman. There is no need to hurry. Kuna wakati tutashindana kisiasa, no problem.
Let us finish with BBI.
We all don't have a problem with BBI. Where do they find money to go campaigning for a document that has no opposition? Bora mwisho mwananchi anaamua, leteni.
Well, Deputy President William Ruto will be speaking to Ken Mijungu tonight at 9 p.m. Make sure you make a date with us. Time to take a short break. We'll be back with a lot more day top stories.
Did you know? We are a leading African banking group with over 1,000 branches and almost 10,000 ATMs across the continent. Absa Group, serving Kenya as Barclays.
Breathable surface developed with Airsoft technology is very soft and provides the best Molfix skincare.
I found the best diaper for my baby's sensitive skin.
All babies deserve a high-quality diaper. You should also try Molfix.
It's my summer, got my squad. We go harder, we got a little bit of feel good now. It's my all I wanna do, all I wanna do, I tell you 'cause it's true. All I wanna, let's have a little bit of feel good now. Be myself, that's my secret. Stop and chill, best believe it. This is the weekend, so we're getting down. Let's have a little bit of that's my flavor.
Siasa ya ukabila na chuki na mgawanyiko haitakuweko tena.
Ruto should have the courage to face the president.
Iko shida hapa, iko shida pale, iko matatizo sijui iko na gani.
These are small things, wachana na hizo.
Jihadharini na manabii wa uongo. Wanakuja kwenu wakivalia ngozi ya kondoo.
Hamuwezi kunifukuza ODM ati mkanifuata ati mnanifukuza Jubilee. Kila mtu afanye kazi yake. Kama wewe ni mtu watchman, fanya kazi ya watchman. There is no need to hurry. Kuna wakati tutashindana kisiasa, no problem.
Let us finish with BBI.
We all don't have a problem with BBI. Where do they find money to go campaigning for a document that has no opposition? Bora mwisho mwananchi anaamua, leteni.
Are you really going to make me mouth this word for word?
I mean, baby, I'm a woman, and women love being told word for word. Wewe usijali. Najua vile unaweza saidika.
Wewe sema kitu unataka kusema.
Unataka nikuambie ama utaenda nyumbani kulia?
Umeamua kupotea. Nikamwaje nikutafute.
Toka hapa kabla Richard akupate.
Itakuwa vizuri kisha sana.
It's hot.
Pole. Batima, pole.
Sera. So hizi ndo vitu wewe ufanya job eh?
Thank you for staying with NTV at 1. Now, 2 more people have been charged by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission in connection to irregular tenders amounting to 891 million shillings in Kitui. Former Kitui County Government's Chief Officer for Land and Infrastructure, Shadrach Muli Munyithia, and Head of Supply Chain Management, Joshua Kalola Munyaka, are facing charges over the irregular award of road tenders. Appearing before the Kitui Chief Magistrate, the 2 pleaded not guilty to charges of flouting procurement laws while awarding over 50 tenders for roadworks and construction of drifts worth over 891 million shillings. Munyithia has been released on a 5 million shilling bond or a cash bail of 1.5 million shillings, while Munyaka has been released on a bond of 3 million shillings or 1 million shillings cash bail. The trial is slated for March the 16th, 18th and 23rd of this year. To health matters, and the county government of Elgeyo Marakwet has issued a malaria alert in the county following the death of 1 person and admission of 3 others due to the killer disease. Lois Wangoi with that report.
A sense of panic is palpable in Elgeyo Marakwet County following an outbreak of malaria. The county administration has confirmed 1 death, that of a Form 1 student from Singore Girls Secondary School.
Our county having a long stretch in the Kerio Valley, we have been able to receive many cases.
At Iten County Referral Hospital, 2 other girls are receiving treatment for malaria. This county says 130 people have been treated for the disease.
When you feel that you're having symptoms which will be probably similar to those of malaria, what is very important is to rush to any health facility for testing.
The Kenya Medical Supplies Agency has been faulted for not being reliable in supplying drugs and equipment needed to adequately contain the outbreak. The malaria outbreak here has been attributed to recent rains resulting in stagnant waters. Lois Wangoi, NTV, Iten in the county of Elgeyo Marakwet.
County governments have been urged to adopt geographic information systems for planning if they are to optimize on the scarce resources mobilized to national government allocation and own source revenue. Vihiga County Governor Wilbur Otichilo says GIS systems can go a long way in bridging data gaps.
In Vihiga, we have said the longest distance a child should walk to school is 2 kilometers. So you map all the schools in Vihiga. You put them on their geographical position. Then from there now, you do an analysis. You tell the computer system, can you now work out radius of 2 kilometers around each school?
Time now to cross over to the sporting world. Sean Cadavillas with the latest.
Thank you very much, Gladys. A very good afternoon to you. Now, the Kenya Lionesses have been invited for the penultimate round of this year's Women's World Sevens Series, the Langford Sevens in Canada, which will be held on the 2nd and 3rd of May. The Lionesses received the invite from World Rugby as part of their preparations for the Olympics in July. The Lionesses were runners-up at the Africa Women's Sevens tournament to earn an Olympic slot, and that after winners South Africa pulled out. Before they head to Langford, the Kenyans will compete in the Invitational Hong Kong Sevens tournament, which doubles up as the HSBC Women's Series qualifiers in April. Manchester United were jeered by their own supporters as Burnley registered their first ever Premier League win at Old Trafford. There were also victories for Leicester and Tottenham on another busy night. Across Europe, Cristiano Ronaldo scored his 13th goal in 10 matches for Juventus as they reached the semi-finals of the Coppa Italia, while Barcelona survived the scare in the Copa del Rey. Burnley plunged more misery on Manchester United as they beat Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's side 2-0 to claim their first win at Old Trafford for 58 years in the Premier League. United could have moved to within 3 points of Chelsea in fourth place with a win, but Chris Wood scored the opener in the 39th minute.
Jumps for it. Wood's there!
And a stunning effort from Jay Rodriguez in the 56th minute further dented their hopes of climbing the league.
Rodriguez! Oh my goodness me!
Leicester returned to winning ways in emphatic fashion, boosting their top four hopes with a 4-1 victory against West Ham at the King Power Stadium.
Perez for 4!
Heung-min Son's late header saw below-par Tottenham pick up their first league victory of 2020 with a 2-1 defeat of Norwich at the Tottenham Stadium.
It's looping, it's in, it's on!
In Italy, Cristiano Ronaldo scored his 13th goal in his last 10 matches as Juventus beat Roma 3-1 to reach the semi-finals of the Coppa Italia. Juventus will face either AC Milan or Torino in the semi-finals.
In the blink of an eye, Juventus take the lead.
And in Spain, Copa del Rey record holders Barcelona survived the scare to beat third-tier UD Ibiza 2-1 in the round of 32. Meanwhile, Gareth Bale scored his first Real Madrid goal since September to help his side beat third-tier Unionistas 3-1 in their Copa del Rey clash. In tennis, Czech second seed Karolina Pliskova had a straightforward 6-3, 6-3 win over Germany's Laura Sigmund to advance to the third round of the Australian Open. In the men's draw, fourth seed Daniel Medvedev reached the third round with a straight sets win over Spanish qualifier Pedro Martinez. The 23-year-old, who was beaten in September's US Open final, had a nosebleed in the second set, but won 7-5, 6-1, 6-3 in just over 2 hours on the Margaret Court Arena. Earlier play was delayed on the outside courts because of dust and mud that came down during a rainstorm in Melbourne on Wednesday night.
It might not have been pretty, but eventually it's a W in the column, and ultimately that's the only thing that matters for Karolina.
Across the pond, Western Conference leaders the LA Lakers bounced back from the heaviest loss of the season to beat the New York Knicks 100-92 points, 6 rebounds and 5 assists in the victory. Marcus Morris had 20 points for the Knicks in their losing effort. The Lakers improved to 35-9 on the season. Elsewhere, Zion Williamson scored 22 points, including a stretch of 17 straight in the fourth quarter and 4 three-pointers as the New Orleans Pelicans succumbed to the San Antonio Spurs. In other results, the Houston Rockets overpowered the Denver Nuggets 121-105. The Utah Jazz thrashed the Golden State Warriors 129-96. The Chicago Bulls thrived against the Minnesota Timberwolves 117-110, and the Atlanta Hawks outscored the LA Clippers 102-95. Now, captains and coaches descended on London on Wednesday for the official launch of the 2020 Six Nations Championship. The first game of the 2020 Championship is just 10 days away when reigning Grand Slam champions Wales welcome Italy to Cardiff. It is set to be a spring of new beginnings, with first-time captains leading out Italy, Ireland, Scotland and France, while there are 4 coaches entering their first championship in charge for Wales, Italy, France and Ireland. This is also the 20th anniversary of the Five Nations becoming 6, thanks to Italy's inclusion. All right, that's the latest sports news. Back to you, Gladys.
It is from the sporting world. A lot more news coming your way in our subsequent bulletins. So do make sure you stay with NTV. My name is Gladys Gachanja. Have a good one.
This is NTV.